west onto 14 towards Walden. So I'll have the sun behind me for a good chunk of this. This GoPro setup is new. I don't usually run a dual camera or a front camera looking back at me, but I thought I'd give it a shot and see how it works. It's not a great setup in terms of the stability of the camera, but maybe it'll work. We'll see. I just used one of the GoPro clips and I've clipped it onto the windscreen there. We're getting irrigated this morning. I was kind of hoping for no traffic. It's still pretty early. It's 7:02 a.m. Sunday morning, so I was kind of hoping that we'd have the road to ourselves. It gets busy on the weekends. And I'm half tempted to kind of pull over and let these guys get ahead a little bit so that we've just got a nice clean road ahead of us and we're not looking at the back of a Subaru or a Toyota or whatever that is. Can't tell from here. I think the videos are nicer when you're not just driving behind some car. I may do that. I think I'm going to pull over here for just a second and let these guys get ahead of us and see if we can get some virgin road in front of us instead of a bunch of traffic. I'll be back in just a sec. Okay, so there's been sort of a steady stream of cars. There's another one coming up behind me, and the one that just passed about 40 seconds ago. So I'm gonna go for it. Hopefully we're kind of spaced out. Gotta get this. I changed the GoPro mount on the helmet and it's interfering with the opening and closing the visor. I've got to move the camera. Okay. So maybe we'll have a little clear road. I'm not going to take it too fast. I'm just going to do a nice relaxing pace. I'm running knobbies on the bike right now. I've got the Shinko, I think it's the 804 and the 805 that I put on for the dart training class that I did in Oklahoma at the end of last month. And they've been okay on the road. I'm not much of like a fast, twisty rider anyway. I like to take it easy. The river's really high. We've got a lot of, I guess, snow melt, and there's been some rain recently. So we ought to see some rafters and some kayakers up here. I've ridden this road a few times now, but I don't really know it. Motorcycles use extreme caution. Guess we will. As I say, I've only ridden this road a few times, but I have had drivers come around these blind corners on the wrong side of the road before, so my operating assumption is that there's going to be some idiot around every corner. Yeah, this is the guy that was almost a minute past me when we started, so even though I'm not riding very fast, I'm catching up with these guys. I guess since we're stuck behind this guy and it's so slow, maybe I'll talk a little bit about the tweaks I've made to the bike. So the biggest change lately is a new set of handlebars. This is a 2012 Yamaha Super Tenere, and I had the stock bars on it until recently, until this change. And I replaced the stock bars with these, which are ProTaper EVO Adventure. And they're not the Adventure Tall, they're the regular Adventure, the low Adventure. And they're pretty close in ergonomics to the original bars. I'm going to go around this guy. They're a little bit higher. The grip position is a little bit higher. And there's a little bit less of a sweep back, which I found that I really like. On the stock bars, the grip position is such that they're rotated at kind of an angle. And so when you grab them, you're having to rotate your wrist. And I found that it was putting tension on my wrist joint, and in order to relieve that tension on my wrist, it made me want to kind of scoot back on the seat and push my arms out, extend my arms, and that was taking some of the pressure off of the wrist joint because of that funny angle. Well, these bars, instead of being, I'm trying to think how to show it, instead of being tilted back like this, the grips are more straight. It's more of a neutral position. And so it takes that stress off the wrist, and then the rise is a little bit higher. And so I kind of thought with the combination of the higher rise and the straighter grip angle that it was going to make the cockpit, that sort of front to back distance, greater. But it's actually sort of done the opposite. It's made the cockpit feel a little bit more compact, and I think it's really that wrist angle. So I've been really happy with them so far in terms of the ergonomics. And I had thought for a long time about what I wanted to do. The bars on these are set low. They're really more of sort of a road position bar compared to something like a BMW GS or GSA. Although people are putting risers on those too. The off-road standing position on this bike was a pretty aggressive position. And so a lot of people put, 2-inch risers or the ProTaper Adventure high bars on these to give a more relaxed standing position, to bring the bars up pretty high. And I debated doing that. When you do that, you have to extend or replace the cables, like the clutch, the clutch line and the throttle cable and all that kind of stuff, which is a big hassle. And so the more I thought about it, the more I looked at it, the more I thought, well, let me try this. This is sort of a middle path. And I'm really glad that I did, because I like this setup. I don't think I would want the bars much higher for road riding, and I do a decent amount of road riding. And then for off-road, I had gotten used to the low bar position on the stock bars, and it's a more aggressive position for sure, but I don't mind it. And so this actually brings it up just a little bit. And I just swapped the bars out a couple of days ago, so I haven't done really any off-road riding at this point. So, I don't know yet from experience, whether I like this position for standing. But with the little bit of experimentation that I've done, I think I'm going to. I think it's going to be a good setup. So we'll see. I'm going to give it some time and may end up tweaking it. But for the moment, it seems like a really positive change. It seems like a good change. So if you guys have a Super Tenere and you're thinking about making the switch, I'd say go for it. These Adventure low bars seem like a good match for this bike and for my riding style at least. The one catch is that I couldn't get the handguards back on, at least not yet. On the OEM bars, the stock bars, Yamaha welded a little nut inside the end of the tube on each end of the handlebar, and then the bolt that secures the handguards and the bar end weight, there's a bolt that screws into the nut in there. And obviously these handlebars don't have that Yamaha nut welded in there, so I've had to order some little expansion nuts, and I'm hoping that I got the right ones. It was kind of hard to find details on the threading and whatnot for those, and then a lot of them stick out at the end of the bar, so the stock bar end weights won't fit. But Moose Racing makes one that looks like it goes all the way down into the tube of the bar. You can position it wherever you want. So as long as the threading is right, and I think on the stock bolts are, I think they're an M8 1.25, so that is a pretty standard thing, and I'm hoping that these Moose Racing things are threaded that way. So anyway, they were like 12 bucks, and they should be arriving in the next day or two. And hopefully I can get those stock handguards back on. If that doesn't work, then I'll probably end up spending more money and putting on a set of Barkbusters or the highway dirt bike brush guards, which are nicer than the stock guards anyway, but the stock guards have served me pretty well. Not a lot of sun down in these canyons yet. It's still so early. Roosevelt National Forest. Hooter Park. are a number of day-use picnic areas tucked in between the road and the river along here. And then a little further on, there are also a couple of small campsites. I stopped at one of the picnic areas one day with my daughter, but I haven't been to any of the campsites along here. I was thinking it might be fun to come and spend the night one night and maybe do some time lapse of the sunrise or sunset down here in the canyon. Look at that water flow. Here's one of the picnic areas. Kawasaki strapped on back. There's one of the little camp areas. There aren't many spots down there, and my guess is they stay pretty booked. Bit of sun sneaking in up here. To the tunnel. the sunshine. I wouldn't mind a little warm sunshine. It's kind of chilly this morning. Prairie and Masonville. This is the turnoff we're going to make. This road's still kind of sandy, and we're entering the area where the fire really swept through. It was before we moved here. I guess it's been a few years ago. I don't remember when it was exactly, but you'll see the effects of it ahead. This weekend is the first time I've ever ridden this road. I did it yesterday. I guess I did it the day before too, so this will be my third time on the road. But it's a nice little windy road. Some pretty properties tucked back in here, little ranches. Entering the Rist Canyon Volunteer Fire Department area. It's really sandy through here. I rode this yesterday morning, and there were a lot of cyclists on here. I'm surprised we haven't seen any this morning. I guess it's still too early and too cold. See where the fire has burned this whole set of hillsides. This hillside ahead of us too. property tucked into this valley. Let's see, where are we? Fort Collins 18 to the left. I think if we go straight, it's going to take us down by Masonville and by the reservoir, but we'll head this way, shorten it up a little bit, keep the video a little bit shorter. This Stove Prairie Road, I think is what this is also a really pretty windy road. Going up and over. Right into the sun. Surprised that we haven't seen any deer. This time of morning I would have thought that maybe there'd be a few out. Motorcycles use extreme caution, 20 miles an hour. %12 grade, trucks use lower gear. What a view. Look at that view. Yeah, I don't think the camera's catching some of these little snippets of amazing view that I'm seeing. I hope it is, but my guess is you guys can't quite catch the scale and the beauty. There, I'm torn between watching the road and looking at the view. Better watch the road. believe it when I see it. Got our first jogger. I'm really surprised we haven't seen cyclists. Here we go, there's our first cyclist. Guess we're just a little too early. Where are the deer hiding this morning? This has been a long downhill. Lots of mailboxes. nice not to have much other traffic. We've kind of had it to ourselves, haven't we? Nice way to spend an early Sunday morning. We are still shedding altitude. It's a long, windy road down the hill. This section, we've got a pretty good headwind. We're getting close to the end here. Starting to flatten out a little bit. The blue rock of target fixation doom. What is this, oil on this road? Gotta stay out of that stuff. Kind of hard to see on a couple of these the way the sun is coming through. That light to shadow with the sun right in your face makes it a little bit of a challenge. Leaving the Rist Canyon Volunteer Fire Department area. Looks like we are near the end. I think we're coming out of the canyon. Yep, it looks that way. Let's see, is this? I think I'm going to go down this little road. I think this is going to take me back and connect with 287, a little bit south of where we turned onto 14. The old dirt road. spot for a farm. Looks like we are going right. Good morning, Cap. Where does that little road go? I didn't even see it. Just kind of died into the hillside, or what did I miss back there? I think this is going to put us right up here. I think it should intersect with 287. Oh, camera got bumped. Yep, this looks like 287. There's the Poudre River. I guess this is the end of the line, guys. Hope you enjoyed the ride.